Hey, good evening, everyone. I have uploaded 12 lectures, 12, 13 lectures of world geography. Today I'm uploading more. Like like today or tomorrow, I'll be completing the entire जो geography के जितने भी lectures हैं 18-19 lecture हैं जो world geography जिससे आपकी basic clear हो जाएंगे वो मेरे portal पे आपको मिल जाएंगे like on YouTube channel. Please like, share and subscribe and I hope आपको इन lectures से help मिल रहा होगा. अच्छे से पढ़ाई करिए. These are free of cost. Please utilize your time and give your best so that without any investment you should clear this exam. समझिए, सोचिए, फिर पढ़िए. I hope you are enjoying my daily routine. Uh, Exactly, it's not daily. मैं सो रहा है because of my health, but I'm trying my best. So keep preparing. This year you have to clear this exam. Take care. Tata.
Good afternoon, everyone. You buy this month's Yojana, skill development में शायद. I'll be having a class on Yojana, one class every month we will be having on Yojana. That is the, उसमें से questions, उसमें से current affairs, क्या क्या करना है, prelims के लिए क्या याद रखना है, mains के लिए क्या याद रखना है for the monthly Yojana. But the only thing is I'll combine both the batches while taking the class. That is this. कुरुक्षेत्र geography optional नहीं है तो इतना important नहीं है. It is more important for geography optional. कुरुक्षेत्र is not that important for GS. एक हाथ दो स्कीम आती है प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सिंचाई योजना और रूरल डेवलपमेंट, उतना तो GS में ही कवर हो जाता है. इफ यू आर रीडिंग कुरुक्षेत्र, मुझे तो लग रहा है टाइम वेस्ट है कुरुक्षेत्र रीड करना. सो डोंट फोकस टू मच ऑन कुरुक्षेत्र. August. For example, if you see कुरुक्षेत्र, ये है अगस्त का. इसमें एक जो टॉपिक इंपॉर्टेंट है वो है भारतमाला. वो वैसे ही हम ट्रांसपोर्ट में करेंगे, भारतमाला परियोजना. देन पीएम विटनेस एक्सपीरियंस शेयरिंग बाय बेनिफिशरीज ऑफ वेलफेयर स्कीम, कोई ज़रूरत नहीं इसकी. लिंकिंग फार्मर्स टू इनाम, ये एग्रीकल्चर में ही कवर होगा. प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना शायद आपके करंट में ही कवर हुआ है ये. देन आयुष्मान भारत नेशनल हेल्थ प्रोटेक्शन मिशन, दैट इज द नेशनल न्यूट्रिशन मिशन, गवर्नेंस का टॉपिक है, गवर्नेंस में कवर होगा. ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग ड्रिंकिंग वाटर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, नॉट नेसेसरी फॉर जीएस के ड्रिंकिंग वाटर पे ही एक इतना बड़ा क्वेश्चन आ गया. इट विल कम ऑन ड्रिंकिंग वाटर. यू विल हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई क्या इश्यूज है ड्रिंकिंग वाटर पे एंड एक लाइन लिखना पड़ेगा दैट हाउ विल यू विल ट्रांसफॉर्म. उसके लिए इतने बड़ा आर्टिकल करने की जरूरत नहीं. स्वच्छ सुरक्षा ग्रामीण, सर्वेक्षा ग्रामीण, दैट इज एन सर्वे ऑफ द स्वच्छ भारत योजना. फिर कम्युनिटी सैनिटरी कॉम्प्लेक्सेस, टॉयलेट्स एक्सेट्रा, हाउ सिक्किम इज इंश्योरिंग ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग. तो हम ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग टॉपिक करेंगे, उसके ऊपर सिक्किम के ऊपर इतना फोकस करने की जरूरत नहीं अनलेस ज्योग्राफी ऑप्शनल है. तो कि द व्हाट डू मीन बाय, देखो जीएस में क्वेश्चन आएगा हाउ ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग इज गोइंग टू बेनिफिट और what is organic farming and what are the challenges and issues of organic farming. ऑप्शनल में क्वेश्चन आएगा what are the challenges and issues of organic farming, write with special reference to Sikkim, write with special reference to Malwa Plateau, write with special reference to Maharashtra Plateau. कोई भी एक एरिया आ सकता है. फिर एक टॉपिक है यूथ एज ए एजेंट ऑफ चेंज. सो यू कैन राइट ऑन योर ओन, यूथ एज एन एजेंट ऑफ चेंज. हम ये करेंगे पॉपुलेशन ज्योग्राफी में, डेमोग्राफिक डिविडेंड की जब हम बात करेंगे. दैट इज हाउ यूथ कैन बी द एजेंट्स ऑफ चेंज. लाइटनिंग बिलियन लाइव्स. नाउ इसमें से जो इंपॉर्टेंट है इलेक्ट्रिफिकेशन, उसके ऊपर एक योजना में आर्टिकल आ गया, दैट इज मोर देन इनफ. सो एंड इफ यू रीड कुरुक्षेत्र अगेन, अगले महीने के भी उसमें से कुछ टॉपिक्स कॉमन होंगे बिकॉज दिस इज फॉर ओनली रूरल डेवलपमेंट. दिस इज नॉट फोकसिंग ऑन योर एग्जाम. It is a magazine of Ministry of Rural Development which is talking about the rural developments that is occurring in India. इसमें से क्या लेना है क्या नहीं लेना है, that we will do in the class itself. But for us more important is योजना. योजना में भी एक important है the corner which comes in Yojana, one page that comes in Yojana, because पिछले 3 साल से वहाँ से prelims के MCQs आ रहे हैं. Around 5 to 6 MCQs are coming from there, and that are the MCQs जो ना PIB cover करता है, ना कोई भी the classes cover करते हैं. So you should know and exactly as it is. So what happened in 2017 कि everything came from the classes. That is all the notes were, all the questions ऐसे लग रहा था कि ये पढ़ा हुआ है classes में, cover किया है, जो भी notes available है market में, but क्या नहीं था उसमें, जो fact जो classes ने miss किया था, वो fact exam में पूछा था. So if you are reading some current affairs, they have given you 3 points. So वही सब market में फैला हुआ है ये 3 points. UPSC asked you the 4th point. So you knew the ये तो मैंने स्कीम पढ़ी है, आंसर नहीं पता था एग्जैक्टली इसमें आंसर क्या है. सो दैट केम डायरेक्टली फ्रॉम द योजना. सो दिस इज सितंबर योजना. सो वी वांट इससे पहले वाला योजना, स्किल डेवलपमेंट, सोशल एम्पावरमेंट, सोशल एम्पावरमेंट. विल कवर दैट इन द क्लास. So these are the 3 kinds of the things we have done, that is the block disintegration, granular disintegration and exfoliation. Exfoliation, peeling like an onion. It will occur even in the desert regions and it will also occur in the monsoon regions. Desert regions may because daily change in the temperature. Monsoon regions may because of heavy rainfall after high heat. So rocks are in the expanded state and suddenly after the rainfall they contract, resulting into exfoliation. And then the next kind of an physical weathering is hydration. Hydration can also, don't write hydration abhi, we will write hydration in the chemical weathering because it is a mixture of both chemical and physical weathering. वैसे in simple words hydration मतलब क्या? Addition of water. So with the addition of water, the rocks will drink water, and because the rocks will drink water, they will expand, and when they will expand, there will be cracks which are formed in the rocks because of an expansion, and usko hum kahenge the mixture of chemical weathering. Why? Because the rocks are drinking the water. Physical weathering. Why? Because the rocks after drinking the water they break, and therefore it is a mixture of chemical and physical weathering. But it is given in the books in the chemical weathering, so I'll add over there. Unloading and expansion. Unloading and expansion. Suppose this is an landform, and this landform ऊपर mountain है, नीचे rock है. But this landform has been reduced. Q due to mining activity, human mining activity, or this landform has been reduced for maybe construction of roads. We are constructing roads here, and thus we reduce the landform. So what will happen is यहाँ की this part of the landform, उसके नीचे का this landform which is their rocks, they will experience release of pressure, and because they experience release of pressure, they will expand. When they expand, the crack will be developed in the rock. And over the period of time, this crack may be enlarged. So such kind of an weathering which is caused due to removal of super incumbent load. I have introduced you the word superincumbent. मतलब top load is what is known as unloading and expansion. Unloading and expansion over the period of time, अगर rainfall ज़्यादा हो गया तो water will go through the cracks, and when the water goes through the cracks, the entire land will slide down due to the lubricating action of the water, and therefore this is how we cause landslides. That is, initially हमें पता नहीं लगता that we are breaking the rocks, but we create cracks in the rocks, and after creating of the cracks in the rocks, water may seep through the cracks. After seeping through the cracks, the entire landform may move. So what happened in the Uttarakhand is this: unloading and expansion. या उत्तराखंड में second था एक artificial loading also. Artificial loading, this was a temple, but उसके आसपास there was construction of hotels, buildings, and therefore there was an artificial load introduced. Due to the artificial load, over the period of time, mixture हो गया river erosion का and weathering का, and उसके बाद there was a landslide. But वो हम करेंगे as a separate topic. You just write down the technical definition of unloading and expansion.
Few years back in Maharashtra, that one village is that example of
Landslide near Pune on the Western Ghats. So that is an example. We will do the landslides today. So unloading and expansion. This is caused due to removal of superincumbent load. This is caused due to removal of superincumbent load. Caused due to the removal of superincumbent load. Due to unloading, rocks experience positive change in the volume due to expansion. Positive change in the volume due to expansion. Rocks experience positive change in the due to unloading. So due to unloading, rocks experience positive change in the volume. Positive change in the volume due to expansion. And cracks develop. Underline this word, horizontal to the ground surface. Cracks develop horizontal to the ground surface. Cracks develop horizontal to the ground surface, thus weakening the rocks. Which may trigger landslides. Weakening the rocks, which may trigger landslides. Weakening the rocks, which may trigger landslides. Trigger, cause. The instant जो होता है, for example, rocks already weak है, but earthquake will trigger landslide. So earthquake is a trigger mechanism. जिससे होता है, there is a heavy rainfall, already rocks are weak उत्तराखंड में, but 13 जुलाई को heavy rainfall हुआ and उसके बाद tragedy. So triggering mechanism was heavy rainfall, जिसको हम कहेंगे cloud burst. So this is what is a trigger mechanism. Example, ये already इस building का structure weak है, for example, this building का structure is already weak. Then there will be a trigger mechanism in the terms of the earthquakes, and then this entire building may collapse. So this is what is known as a trigger mechanism. वैसे नहीं है इस building का structure weak. Yes, that is earthquakes, dam-induced earthquakes. Example is Maharashtra. 3,500 dams in Maharashtra, and the future may earthquakes. Therefore, there was a Madhav Gadgil ka report also. He said that Kerala jaisa tragedy is going to happen in Maharashtra and Goa. Who is Madhav Gadgil? ही इज एन एनवायरमेंटलिस्ट, जिसके ऊपर गवर्नमेंट ने कमेटी बनाई थी, माधव गाडगिल कमेटी, टू गिव द status to Western Ghats, and he had recommended giving the ecologically sensitive zone ये status to Western Ghats. So हमें पढ़ना है क्या है eco sensitive zone, कौन से act के अंदर, but that will come later on. So unloading and expansion में कैसे crack होता है? Horizontal. Shattering. Where do you use this word shattering? We use in glass. Glass shatters, glass breaks. Why we say glass shatters? Because जब भी glass break होता है, it breaks into the sharp fragments. क्यों है sharp fragments? क्योंकि उनको different angles है. अगर fragments are angular, then only they can be the sharp. This is what is a sharp fragment. This can be the sharp fragment. Similarly, if there is an individual rock, and this individual rock, due to sudden change in the temperature, may break in angles. So ये part may be break हो गया of an individual rock, और ये part break हो गया, गिर गया. So we will call this process as an shattering. Understood? Shattering में क्या देखो, सब है टूटना. The only thing is we human beings, for making our job simple, अगर वो बड़े blocks में टूट गया, we call this as an block disintegration. If it breaks into small grains, we call this as an granular disintegration. If it breaks into the layers, we call it as an exfoliation. If it breaks into the horizontal manner, we call this as unloading and expansion. On the other hand, if it breaks into angular fragments, which are sharp, we will call this as an shattering. रॉक को पता नहीं हो कैसे ब्रेक होने वाला है. It is we human beings who have made our job complicated by giving it a different names, angular fragments, ये x, y, z. So shattering. This kind of weathering is common in arid and semi-arid regions. Is common in arid and semi-arid regions. Arid and semi-arid regions, where rock breaks in angular fragments, where the rock breaks in angular fragments. Where the rocks break in angular fragments due to sudden change in the temperature. Due to sudden change in the temperature. Due to sudden change in the temperature. Example, hot temperature during the daytime. Hot temperature during the daytime. Followed by evening thunderstorm. Followed by evening thunderstorm. Chemical weathering. Very simple. Decomposition of the rocks. You can take down the definition. Decomposition of the rocks. Decomposition of the rocks. In situ. In situ. Due to combined action of water and minerals. Due to combined action of water and minerals. Due to combined action of water and minerals is known as chemical weathering. Due to combined action of waters and minerals is known as chemical weathering. Full stop. Generally calcium calcium or limestone rich rocks are subjected to chemical weathering. Are subjected to chemical weathering. You already know chemical weathering is common in tropical regions and the subtropical regions. That is the hot and humid. जहाँ पे climate है वहाँ पे chemical weathering will be very common. So that is tropical and the subtropical region. And the types of the chemical weathering, again you are comfortable with this word solution. क्या होगा solution? When the minerals get dissolved in water. The rocks is containing many minerals. Some of the minerals are soluble in water. So those minerals get dissolved in water, and water then carries it over the period of time. When they mix with water, we call them as a solution. If you are confused, take an example. You take a mixture of salt and iron dust. What will get dissolved in water? Salt. Iron dust will settle down as a precipitate, or iron dust will remain as it is, but the salt will get dissolved in water. So similarly, rocks may be different types of minerals. Some of the minerals are more easily soluble in water, some of them are not easily soluble. So when they are easily soluble in water, solution. If the minerals are made up of calcium and limestone and they are easily soluble in water, carbonation, a kind of a solution but only of limestone rich rocks. Understanding this? If there is oxides, different oxygen hai, minerals hai, iron hai rock mein, it will react with the water in the atmosphere and उसके बाद वो rusting हो जाएगा, सड़ जाएगा. क्यों? क्योंकि oxidation. See why people don't prefer to live near the canals या live near the buildings यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा पानी है, especially in the dry climate like Delhi. मुंबई में इतना फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा because choice नहीं है, humidity है सब जगह. But Delhi में you do not like to stay there because oxidation is most dominant in India. आपके electronic gadgets सड़ जाएंगे. Your electronic gadgets will rust very soon. So what happened some years back? Before, that is why Sony is not that popular in India. Why many of the big companies who came in India could not survive much, but Eyeball could survive. क्योंकि आपको पता है Sony लो या Eyeball लो, दोनों की लाइफ है 3 साल. म्यूजिक का अगर बहुत ज़्यादा शौक है तो ही यू विल इन्वेस्ट बहुत ज़्यादा, अदरवाइज सारा ये सड़ जाएगा इसमें. द रीज़न इज ऑक्सीडेशन. देन सेकेंड एग्जाम्पल, हमारे इसमें जब भी हम एसी लेने जाते हैं, व्हेन यू विल गो टू बाय एन एसी, आपको बोलेगा कॉपर वायरिंग है, कॉपर वायरिंग है. व्हाट इज दैट? बिकॉज ऑक्सीडेशन कम हो जाएगा. अगर नॉर्मल वायरिंग है तो ऑक्सीडेशन विल बी वेरी हाई. थर्ड, सी द प्रैक्टिकल इम्प्लीकेशन ऑफ ऑक्सीडेशन. यू जस्ट गो नियर बाय हियर, there is a Moti Nagar ka area. In this Moti Nagar ka area, generally Delhi mein you do not have the apartments, you do not have societies, gated communities in this part. एक तो द्वारका में है, गुड़गांव में है या नोएडा में है. But in central Delhi, DLF Capital Greens करके एक apartment है, which is very near Moti Nagar, but flop project. Even after being in Delhi, the only project which was launched at 11,000 rupees per square feet, आज उसका रेट है 5,000 rupees per square feet. This is just an example. नहीं तो ऐसे रियल एस्टेट में कभी नहीं होता कि रेट कम हो गया. रेट शुड हैव बीन इंक्रीज्ड. व्हाट इज द रीजन व्हाई इट हैज फ्लॉप्ड? बिकॉज वहाँ से एक बहुत बड़ा कैनल पास होता है. दोज हु पीपल हु हैव गॉन टू स्टे देयर विद इन 2 and 3 years, सब कुछ सड़ने लग रहा है. Especially why? Because why I am telling you all this, because we will be writing one statement, that is the oxidation is the most common type of chemical weathering in monsoon type of climate. Understanding this? Why? Because we have heat and humidity, and most of the metals which are there, they will get rusted. First write about solution. Have you written about solution? So solution, types of chemical weathering, solution. This is the dissolution. This is the dissolution of minerals which are soluble in water, which are soluble in water, which are soluble in water. Next, carbonation. Solution is not at all important. More important is carbonation. Now, before I go to carbonation, you know the concept of acid rainfall. I don't know whether I asked you in this class. You know the concept of acid rainfall. क्या है acid rainfall? Sulfur and nitrous oxides are mixed. So, normal rainfall जो होता है, is it acidic, is it neutral, is it basic? What do you mean by acid? जिसका pH is less than 7 or 6.5. What is neutral? 7. And what is basic? जिसका pH is greater than 7. So normal water should be neutral. So if there is an acid rainfall वाला concept which is harmful, normal rainfall जो होता है वो acidic है या वो neutral है या basic है? Normal rainfall is also acidic. Remember why? Because there is carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and the atmospheric carbon dioxide will react with the rainwater and make a weak acid known as carbonic acid. So normal rainfall is also acidic. हम कहते हैं acid rainfall when the pH falls below 3.5 because nitrous oxides and sulfur dioxide make the acid very strong acid. So it's fine. ये मोटो जी है, इसको बहुत बार गिराया, कुछ नहीं होता. Had this been iPhone तो मैं टेंशन में आता.
सालनी त्यागी कौन है? सालनी त्यागी, उनके फादर का फोन आ रहा है इसी क्लास में.
एब्सेंट हो गई. फंस गए. So coming back to the topic, normal rainfall is also acidic. Remember this. Why? Because there is a carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. This normal rain, when it reacts with the limestone rocks, when it reacts with the marble rocks, it will dissolve the rocks which are rich in calcium or in limestone. And this kind of a solution is what is known as an carbonation. So what is carbonation? Nothing but the solution of carbonate minerals, the rocks which are rich in limestone and calcium. Fine with this? So you can take down carbonation. Carbonation is the solution. Carbonation is the solution of minerals of the rocks which are rich in calcium, and limestone. Normal rainfall is slightly acidic in nature. This is because the rainwater reacts with atmospheric carbon dioxide to form a weak acid known as carbonic acid. This carbonic acid reacts with limestone and calcium minerals. and such process is known as carbonation. Such process is known as carbonation. See, this is your past year question twice. What is responsible for acid rainfall? It can come even today. थोड़ा इसका form of a question may change, but what is responsible? A, B, C. So generally हम pollution में वो सब करेंगे. Nitrous oxides, sulfur oxides are only responsible, and this will mark as A and B only. And answer गलत हो गया. But remember, A, B, C, all three are responsible for acid rainfall. The only thing is कि ये pollutant है, and this is the normal rainfall. But ye तीनों are responsible for acid rainfall. Now, if the amount of carbon dioxide increases in the atmosphere, it is also responsible for the high acid rainfall. इसीलिए in the real life also, elders tell you कि even if you are not staying in the non-polluted city, elders will tell you कि पहले बारिश में मत भीगना. Why is that? Because जितना भी carbon dioxide है, it is stronger and it will react with that rain and the rainfall will be acidic. उसके बाद the intensity of the acid rainfall will keep on decreasing. So remember, these are kind of a tricky questions and UPSC knows the common mistakes. इसलिए ये भी option रहेगा, ये भी रहेगा. So your answer is A, B and C. Third is oxidation. Oxidation. Rocks which are rich in iron, in equatorial and subtropical regions, in the equatorial and the subtropical regions, due to high heat and humidity, rusting occurs, and this process is known as oxidation. Rusting occurs and this process is known as oxidation. Oxidation is responsible for reddish brown crust on the rocks. Oxidation is responsible for reddish brown crust या covering on the rocks. Reddish brown covering on the rocks. Go and pick up any rock, even in Delhi today, and you will see it is reddish in color, थोड़ा ऊपर धूल लगी होगी या brownish in color. वो इसके लिए है, not because ये soil के कारण. It is an example of an oxidation common in the monsoon region. Now understand इसका application. Which part of India is rich in iron ore? Archean gneiss and schist. So that is a peninsular India, yeah, that is the alluvial plains. Peninsular India, except the part of black cotton soil. So this is a part of an black cotton soil. बाकी का entire peninsular India is made up of Archean gneiss and schist, which is rich in iron. There will be weathering going on, and therefore आगे जाके हम देखेंगे कि ये जो soil है, this is red and yellow soil. ये soil क्यों black है? You know that because of basalt. Now you should know why this soil is reddish and yellow, because of the oxidation process. It is reddish and yellow because this is dominated by Archean gneiss and schist. So red and yellow soil in India is found in the regions where Archean rocks dominate. Red soil in India is found in those regions where the Archean rocks dominate. हाँ, केमिकल प्रॉपर्टी चेंज होगी, फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टी भी चेंज होगी. फॉर एग्जांपल आयरन है, वायर है, सड़ने के बाद उसकी पाउडर बन जाती है. चेंज इन द फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टी आल्सो. रस्टिंग, जो सड़ जाना है, दैट इज एन ऑक्सीडेशन. Hydration. Now we will include hydration. So hydration, take down hydration is adding up of water, hydration is adding up of water. Therefore rocks expand, and crack and crack, full stop. Thus this is a chemical weathering. Chemical weathering is drinking of water. Chemicals pee rahe rocks, the minerals are drinking the water. This is a chemical weathering which ultimately leads to breaking or physical weathering, breaking of the rocks or the physical weathering. Ultimately leads to breaking of the rocks or the physical weathering. See, now you can understand इसमें से क्या important है, ये पूरा का पूरा important है. This, इसमें से क्या important है, 1 and 2. And third is the biotic weathering. So we have already written about the biotic weathering. Same as what is we have written is the biotic weathering. एक दो factual part है इसमें which I will include in the test. That is the जो factual information जो आपको याद रखनी है, that statement I will include in the test in the biotic weathering. For example, desert varnishes are formed, the crust is formed. ये सारा is an example of an biotic weathering. Now with this, now you tell me what is the importance of the weathering, what is the significance of weathering. Soil formation, उसके बाद how increase in how
It's not necessary adding.
Sir, weathering, when we plug the trees, yesterday gave an example of plugging.
Due to the presence of microorganisms,
microorganisms are responsible for weathering. That is what we did. Now addition of fertility to the soil is due to the addition of macronutrients. Calcium is added to the soil, iron is added to the soil. You all require this 8 minerals in our body also. The same 8 minerals are required in the soil. See, for example, exam के समय आपको banana खाने बोलते हैं. Why is it so? Because banana is rich in potassium. So the same thing is needed for us. Potassium will give us energy. Similarly, आपको डिहाइड्रेशन के समय सोडियम, दैट इज नमक खाने बोलते, नमक का पानी पीने बोलते हैं. वाई? बिकॉज सोडियम विल is undergoes hydration, it will attract the water. So if your body is suffering from dehydration, ORS में salt होता है. So why is that so? So that it will preserve the water. The same thing will be done. Now if the sodium is there in the soil, maybe it will preserve the water. If the calcium is there in the soil, it will be good for some crops. If the potassium is there in the soil, it is good for potato, but it is bad for wheat. It is bad for wheat. It is good for potato, it is bad for wheat, it is good for tea. इसलिए नॉर्थ इंडिया में पहले गेहूं, उसके बाद आलू, मिक्स क्रॉपिंग है. Why is that mixed cropping? So that the potassium will be taken up by the potato and the NPK, बाकी का जो है nitrous and the phosphates will be taken by the wheat. So all this, our entire lifestyle is based on what are the macronutrients and what the crops need. Any other thing?
Sir, is it necessary that erosion and weathering will always increase the fertility of soil?
Not necessary. How water table will increase?
Sir, इसका कोई example that due to erosion and weathering soil fertility?
Due to erosion and weathering, soil fertility may not increase. Due to floods, the soil fertility will increase. And the floods will result into death as well as erosion. Due to death, humus is added to the soil. Due to erosion, the soil becomes loose and जिसके बाद agriculture is possible. So इसका example is खादर and भांगर. हम जब इंडियन ज्योग्राफी करेंगे, खादर is the new alluvial soil. It is more fertile. Bhangar is the old alluvial soil, which is less fertile. Why it is new alluvial soil is more fertile? Because every year floods will add the alluvial deposits in this region. I'm just making the points. Any other point? Just think क्या होगा due to weathering? Addition of minerals. इससे क्या होगा? Addition of the minerals. Will it make mineral exploration more easier? Gold. अगर weather rocks अगर weather नहीं हुए तो the gold will not be present as a placer deposits. नहीं तो आज भी अगर नीचे जाओगे तो किसी भी rock में gold होगा, but हम वो rock नहीं रखेंगे because for mineral exploration it has to be commercially viable. मतलब एक minimum reserve होना चाहिए. Rocks में आज भी iron है, तो क्या आप नीचे जाके iron और mine खोलोगे? यहाँ पे iron है rocks में. So we will not. Why? Because the minimum possible is not there. Now what the weathering does, कि it will break other minerals and only iron का concentration will increase. And because the iron का concentration या gold का concentration या calcium rocks है, so it will get dissolved due to carbonation. फिर पानी में mix होके it will be deposited at some other place and वहाँ पे सिर्फ limestone deposits मिलेंगे. And then you can open a cement factory there. Are you understanding? What it does? It makes mineral exploration commercially viable. But you have not told me the most important thing is weathering will aid erosion as well as mass movement. अगर weathering ही नहीं है तो there will not be erosion. Only in some few cases there will be erosion. अगर weathering नहीं है तो landslides नहीं होगा, and landslides एक major topic है. अगर weathering नहीं है तो there will be no avalanches. So this is the significance of an weathering. Understand why there will be no avalanches? Let us come to the landslides first. You take down some of the important points in this. Now जब भी ये मेंस में क्वेश्चन आता है ऐसा, not necessary, but it will aid. मतलब what I said कि हमेशा possible नहीं है. There are some exceptions कि there will be landslides in even in the case of not weathering. मैंने example भी दिया था nuclear bomb explosion का या डायनामाइट का, बट बाकी के समय वेदरिंग तो जरूरी है. बोथ आर देम आर ट्रू. अगर ये स्टेटमेंट आता है वेदरिंग एड्स मास मूवमेंट, ट्रू. नीचे आता है वेदरिंग इज नॉट अ नेसेसरी कंडीशन फॉर मास मूवमेंट, यस, बोथ आर ट्रू. ऐसा एक स्टेटमेंट आया था इंडियन मॉनसून में, इन इंडिया मॉनसून डिक्रीजेस फ्रॉम ईस्ट टू वेस्ट, इन इंडिया मॉनसून डिक्रीजेस फ्रॉम वेस्ट टू ईस्ट, विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट्स आर ट्रू? बोथ आर ट्रू. We'll do that in Indian geography cube, both are true. So you take down first, we'll start here, which is the most important point. Abhi examination mein, especially in general studies, try to make flow charts, try to make such diagrams. It will give, जो जहाँ पे geography में diagrams नहीं possible, या जहाँ पे even in polity जहाँ पे diagrams नहीं possible, you can add these things like flow chart. या डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट में हम एक फ्लो चार्ट बनाएंगे, प्री डिजास्टर, ड्यूरिंग द डिजास्टर, पोस्ट डिजास्टर एंड कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग, मिटिगेशन. सो ट्राई टू मेक सच काइंड ऑफ एन फ्लो चार्ट. यू हैव टू मेक द जॉब इजी फॉर द एग्जामिनर. सो द फर्स्ट थिंग, weathering causes loosening of the rocks, This rocks are then easily carried by different agents of erosion, are easily carried by the different agents of erosion. Weathering, same point mein, weathering also causes breaking of big mountains, which during any trigger event may cause slope failure and mass movement. That is landslides. Slope failure matlab landslides, which may cause slope failure and mass movement, that is the landslides. Second, soil formation. Weathering breaks the top layer of the rocks, and thus helps the soil formation. It also allows microorganisms to live in the soil, thus increasing the fertility of the soil. Full stop. Same point mein, biotic factors such as flora and fauna will enrich the soil through factors such as humification, that is addition of humus, mineralization, mineralization, addition of minerals. I am connecting these 2 points. It has nothing to do with addition of minerals, we have written here. Okay. Next, third factor. The weathered materials are deposited in different places, depending upon the type of a mineral, as well as the type of a weathering, Example, calcium carbonate from the rocks, is dissolved and deposited in high concentration, full stop. This makes mineral exploration commercially viable. This makes the mineral exploration commercially viable. Second example, due to the process of weathering and erosion, sands in Kerala are extremely rich in what? Thorium. Sands in Kerala are extremely rich in thorium. क्योंकि थोरियम सिर्फ सैंड्स में क्यों मिलता है? ड्यू टू द ब्रेकिंग ऑफ द रॉक्स ऑफ द वेस्टर्न घाट्स जिसमें थोरियम है, एंड ब्रेकिंग ऑफ द कोस्टल रॉक्स. Ultimately, all this is either brought by the rivers and deposited on the coast of the Kerala, it is brought by the sea waves and deposited. And then we have the India में we have the largest thorium deposits in the monazite sands of Kerala. इसलिए हमारा third stage of nuclear reactor is based on thorium. Next, so you should remember this fact also, that is the sands in Kerala are rich in thorium. They are known as it is not rich in uranium, it is rich in thorium and other rare earth minerals. यूरेनियम इंडिया में एक तो झारखंड में है या मेघालय में है. कैन यू टेल मी व्हाई इट इज इन मेघालय? यू हैव ऑलरेडी डन दैट बिकॉज मेघालय इज एन पार्ट ऑफ पेनिनसुलर प्लाटू. सो जो झारखंड में मिनरल मिलेगा वो मिनरल मेघालय में मिलेगा. सो विल वी फाइंड कोल इन मेघालय? यस, वी फाइंड कोल ऑल्सो इन मेघालय. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, essential micronutrients, essential macronutrients, not micro, essential macronutrients such as potassium, comma iron, comma calcium, magnesium are added to the soil, This macronutrients then through the plants, macronutrients, then through plants enter the food chain and gives us what? Nutrition. You can stop there itself, enter the food chain. अगर लिखना है तो and thus gives us nutrition लिख सकते हो. Have you understood this statement? The macronutrients are added to the soil. एक तो fertility of the soil increase होगा, but वो point मैंने repeat नहीं किया because we have written here. Secondly, the plants through its root system will take up calcium, potassium, etc. and this will be stored in the plants. And then the plants will be eaten by the animals. Animals may be eaten by the human beings. So ये जितने भी nutrients है, thus they get transferred. Otherwise we human beings do not go and eat the soil. Iron की tablets हम खाते हैं, but the best way of increasing the iron is eating the beetroot. Why is it so? Because it has more concentration of iron. The best way of increasing the calcium is drinking milk or eating any of the material which is rich in calcium, that is maybe bones. So this is what I mean by the food chain. What is food chain? Plants will be eaten by the animals, animals will be eaten by the secondary consumers will be eaten by the tertiary consumers. Humans necessary nahi hai. Human can be a primary consumer. That is, there are some people here who are purely veg, they are primary consumer. Human can be a secondary consumer. There are some of the people who are here eating non-veg also, so you are a secondary consumer also. And there are some जो दिन के हिसाब से primary and secondary consumer बनते हैं. That is the गुरुवार है, शुक्रवार है, शनिवार है, so आज खा सकते, आज नहीं खा सकते. That is the human being. So we are not exactly a part of food chain. कहाँ पे है? Depending upon whom you believe, depending upon which God you believe, depending upon exam नजदीक है या दूर है, आपका preference change होता है. So you keep on becoming primary and secondary consumer. But we are in part of an food chain. Animals are in part of an food chain, and this is how the addition of the minerals. Next point. Is weathering helps in breaking of the solid rock, and thus increasing permeability of the rocks. Thus increasing permeability of the rocks. Thus increasing the permeability of the rocks. Rainwater or the surface runoff. See, try to use these words. Rainwater, एक तो normal या surface runoff. Surface runoff means जो भी water is which is flowing on the surface will enter through these cracks. And thus help in recharge of groundwater. Thus help in recharge of groundwater. Thus help in recharge of groundwater. Now suppose if this was the rock which was non-permeable, but due to physical weathering, block disintegration हुआ in the big scale. अब जो भी पानी है, it will go below, and after going below, it will be groundwater. यही हो रहा है Indian cities में. Concretization बहुत ज़्यादा है, and therefore there is no artificial recharge of a groundwater. इसलिए groundwater level is going down. And you see what Britishers did before they came, when they came to India. When was Connaught Place developed? 1925. And this Luton's Delhi was developed, it started in 1911, खत्म हुआ 1935 के आसपास. And even in that era, you see anywhere in the Luton's Delhi, बहुत ज़्यादा green areas है. रास्ते है concrete, but उससे double green area है. Why is it so? It is so because ये हमने ये word use किया है, these are riparian buffer, कि जब देर इज एन हेवी रेनफॉल, रास्ता यहाँ पे जो होता है पटेल चौक पे, यहाँ पे पटेल नगर के गोल चक्कर पे, फिर थोड़ी भी बारिश ब्लॉक, ट्रैफिक जैम, या जो गुड़गांव में होता है थोड़ी भी बारिश ट्रैफिक जैम. व्हाई इज इट हैपनिंग? बिकॉज वी हैव रिड्यूस्ड द आर्टिफिशियल रिचार्ज ऑफ अ ग्राउंड वाटर. ब्रिटिशर्स न्यू दिस. There is a heavy rainfall, so they had created gardens, and by creating the gardens or the lawns, there is a natural recharge of an groundwater. That is the, rather than that water flowing on the road and destroying the road and causing traffic jams, it goes and recharges the groundwater. And you should know also this thing, when the rainwater goes down through the soil, there is a natural purification of a water. Why? Because the ground is rich in minerals, and thus जो भी impurities है they are taken by the minerals. For example, आजकल जो आता है advertisement coal enriched या carbon enriched face wash, soaps etc., ground में natural carbon है, इसलिए if you allow the natural recharge of a groundwater through rainwater harvesting, the water will get pure. Understanding this? This is what has been done by the Britishers to India. That is, this is the positive thing about the Britishers. Riparian buffer. हमने क्या किया? हमने जब ब्लू लाइन मेट्रो स्टेशन बनाया तो कनॉट प्लेस के सेंटर में जो गार्डन था उसको नीचे से कंक्रीट करके राजीव चौक मेट्रो स्टेशन बना दिया. Have you seen that? Above there is a central park made by Britishers. Why? Because the CP is a central business district. And इसलिए तब दिल्ली में कभी पानी का प्रॉब्लम नहीं था. When I came to Delhi in 2006, we used to directly drink the tap water. तब ये concept नहीं था दिल्ली में, that is of an RO or AquaGuard etc. Directly tap water of Delhi was very, very good. But over the period of time, too much concretization, destruction of wetlands, that are an example of wetlands, and thus the groundwater has gone below. When the groundwater goes below, it now starts reacting with the rocks, and the minerals become more in concentration, and therefore salinity increases. And this is what is happening to Delhi. The salinity is going to increase, and then we require RO, that is UV filter etc. जो भी है. So this is what I meant by loosening the permeability. Now whenever you write the answer, try to connect this. So what you show to the examiner कि आपको सिर्फ subject नहीं पता, आपको concept in real life भी पता है, and that is going to fetch you more marks. Fine with this? Bookish knowledge will not fetch you that high marks, but if you can apply this. Significance is importance. Importance can be negative, importance can be positive also. So in the terms of speed, we are going to study slow, medium, and fast, or very fast, or instant movements. So when we study any of the slow movements, हम उसको कहेंगे creep. And this can be soil creep, this can be rock creep, this can be land creep. But more importantly, हमारे लिए what is important is the soil creep. When we study the medium flow ka movements, we will call them as flow. That is soil flow or mud flow, but I will take the best word, that is the mud flow. Soil se zyada what is more important is the mud flow. In the terms of instant movement, they can be fall or slide. Example is rock fall or land slide. So this mass moments are further divided on the basis of role of water. So classification of mass movement is on the basis of speed, we will call them as creep, flow, fall. On the basis of role of water, now tell me, will there be any role of water in the creep? Soil is creeping at a very slow speed. You will understand over the period of time the water has no role. You will see that यहाँ पे the water has maximum role because it is fully saturated with water. Fully saturated with water means इसमें पूरा पानी भरा हुआ है. That is, it is fully saturated with water. You should understand by the word flow only, anything can flow if it is fully saturated with water, otherwise it will not flow. And यहाँ पे water has minimal role, that is water acts as lubricating agent. So can I say no role, maximum role, and only the water will be having the lubricating agent. In the terms of risk associated, this has no risk, this has risk, that is high risk, and this has maximum risk. If the landslide is occurring in the regions of glaciers, so you will call this as avalanches. So Indian geography जब हम पढ़ेंगे तो I will ask you to do NCERT क्योंकि that NCERT is good. So I will cover a topic and आपको घर पे जाके बोलूँगा कि NCERT के chapters पढ़ ले. So उसमें Western Ghats में दिया है mud avalanches are common. So don't get confused between avalanche and a mud avalanche. So avalanche is associated with glacier when the glacier comes down with great speed. अब NCERT कहता है कि that similar thing यहाँ पे instead of glacier or snow what is coming down is mud. So they have used the word mud avalanches. पर अगर कल क्वेश्चन आता है avalanches are common in Himalayas and Western Ghats, so answer will be only Himalayas, not Western Ghats. Because mud avalanche नहीं पूछा है. क्या पूछा है एग्जाम में? Avalanche. And avalanche मतलब only when snow comes down or the glacier comes down. That is what is known as an avalanche. So this is what is a land. Obviously, what is important from us is the landslide. What is least importance is the soil creep. So we'll start with this. Remember this chart whenever you are confused. Fine with this? So you can take down very slow movement of weathered rock material. Very slow movement of weathered rock material. Very slow movement of weathered rock material. Down the slope. Down the slope. Under the influence of gravity. under the influence of gravity, under the influence of gravity, is known as soil creep, is known as soil creep. Is known as soil creep. Next point, soil creep. Soil creep occurs on क्या steep या moderate slopes? What it will occur? Soil steep slope या moderate slope? Moderate. Steep पे तो fast आ जाएगा. So it occurs on moderate to gentle slopes, moderate to gentle slopes. Next point, it is so slow that it cannot be noticed by human eyes, that it cannot be noticed by human eyes, that it cannot be noticed by human eyes, but the process is seen, S-E-E-N, seen, due to bending of poles in the hilly regions, due to the bending of poles in the hilly regions, or the collection of regolith or weathered materials, collection of regolith or weathered materials behind the walls, behind the walls. Behind the walls. Next point, soil creep occurs. Soil creep occurs when due to grazing of the animals, comma, movement of animals as well as people, which causes breaking of individual rocks, causes breaking of individual rocks. Next point, water has no role or plays a minimal role. Water has no role or plays a minimal role in the soil creep. Water has no role or plays minimal role in the soil creep. Next point, in soil creep, individual weathered particles or soil particles, individual weathered particles or the soil particles move over each other. Weathered particles or the soil particles move over each other and also over the underlying rocks. इसका मतलब ये है that due to walking of the animals, ये जो soil particles है, this will be thrown in opposite direction. If you stomp here, जितना भी soil particles है, it will be thrown in the other parts. Now because of the gentle slope, this soil particle will keep on jumping from one particle to over the other particle, and ultimately the entire soil will start coming down. If there is a rock here, this soil particle may also move over the individual rock or underneath the individual rock, but finally uska direction will keep on coming down. So what do we see in the hilly regions? अगर ऐसा pole plant किया है, so over the year of time pole will not remain straight. Red color shows the ideal direction of the pole, but the pole will start bending. Why the pole will start bending? Because the soil is moving downwards. Or if there is a wall, there will be a collection of the soil behind the wall. So this is an example of an soil creep. So you can take down this diagram. Red color का बनाने की जरूरत नहीं. This was just to tell you how the ideal position of the pole should be, but how the pole becomes over the period of time. Understood? डिफरेंशियल डिस्प्लेसमेंट क्यों हो रहा है? तो क्यों वो सॉइल क्रीप के कारण ही हो रहा है. सॉइल क्रीप इज द रिस्पॉन्सिबल. सो ऊपर का सॉइल जा रहा है और नीचे का सॉइल वैसे ही रह रहा है. सो वही तो हो रहा है इधर. No, it is so slow it takes generations. When does the soil creep occurs? Even it occurs now. If you step your foot, put your foot on the soil, soil particles will be thrown in other directions. Because there is no water. If there is water, let us complete the diagram, then we will see what there will be if there is a water. Make the diagram in the class. घर पे जाके कुछ होता नहीं है. घर पे जाके अगर आप सोचोगे बहुत क्लीन डायग्राम बनाओगे तो स्पेस रखना वहाँ पे. फिर जब टाइम मिलेगा तब क्लीन डायग्राम बना लेना. बट ट्राई टू मेक द डायग्राम इन द क्लास. जो कल करे सो आज, जो आज करे सो अब. अदरवाइज ये घर पे जाके कभी होगा नहीं और कभी प्रैक्टिस नहीं होगा. What will happen once you go home? You will start reading Hindu. सो जाओगे थोड़ा, बात दिन खत्म. So make everything in the class. Tilting of the poles. Not bending, tilting of the poles, not bending. Can I go to the next part? Will it be dangerous soil creep? No, not at all. कब नीचे आएगी? We'll see this. So the second is flow. And what can flow? Either the soil can flow or the mud can flow. And we will call this as solifluction. Fluction is flow and soil is solifluction. Now what will happen in this? If there is a very heavy rainfall, when there is a very heavy rainfall, the upper part, it will get fully saturated with water. And now because it becomes fully saturated with water मतलब ये पानी भर जाएगा, कीचड़ बन जाएगा यहाँ पे. So when it becomes fully saturated with water, now the soil will behave like water. And when the soil behaves like water, ये नीचे की तरफ आएगा. And it will start flowing with the great speed and it will take everything down which comes in its path. And thus it will start becoming a natural disaster. So when it is not saturated with water, soil creep. When it is completely saturated with water, then it is soil flow or mud flow. So what was Uttarakhand tragedy? Uttarakhand tragedy, rather than landslide, हम कहते हैं उसको landslide, but technically what it was an mud flow. It was an mud flow. That is, there was so heavy rainfall, and due to breaking of the rocks now were so loose, they started flowing like water. Rocks were floating in the water, and it destroyed everything that comes in the path. Due to rainfall, temperature increased. कल ग्रीन हाउस इफेक्ट जो मैंने बताया था, and therefore the ice also started melting, and because the ice started melting, there was a quick rainfall and there was a quick rise in the level of water, and ultimately sab leke gaya. So this is what is an mud flow. Though we call it as a landslide, it is actually a mud flow. उसका एक reason है artificial construction of roads, उसका एक reason है overloading of the slopes, उसका एक reason है that is that year was a La Nina year like this year. Even this year there is a La Nina year. Even that year there was a strong La Nina year. So generally उत्तराखंड में, मुंबई में बारिश आती है, केरला में बारिश आती है on 1st of June, मुंबई में on 10th of June, and in Uttarakhand it reaches on 13th to 15th of July. So by 30th of June that yatra is finished. But that year was a La Nina year, and we could not predict the monsoon. Mumbai, the Kerala, it arrived on 1st of June. Mumbai, it arrived on 3rd of June, and it covered entire India on 7th of June. And thus Uttarakhand had a very, very high rainfall from 7th of June. Obviously, disaster management was not in place. And when the disaster management was not in place, it resulted into collapse of a system. So that is an example of an soil flow. Overloading we'll see in the landslides. What do you mean by overloading of the? We'll do that in the landslides. So soil flow. This occurs when the weathered material or the soil, this occurs when the weathered material or the soil is fully saturated with water. Is fully saturated with water. As it becomes fully saturated with water, as it becomes fully saturated with water, as it becomes fully saturated with water, individual soil particles start behaving like water. Individual soil particles start behaving like water, and flow rapidly downwards, and flow rapidly downwards, and flow rapidly downwards, like a liquid, destroying everything that comes in the path, destroying everything that comes in the path. Next, soil flow is common in Uttarakhand. Soil flow is common in Uttarakhand due to heavy rainfall, Soil flow is also common in Western Himalayas. In Western Himalayas, tundra regions, due to what? Due to melting of snow, in the volcanic regions, ये सिर्फ prelims के लिए third point, in the volcanic regions, there is a mixture of mud flow and lava. There is a mixture of mud flow and lava, which is known as lahar, A very common example you will see over the period of time, जब आप डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज वो सब देखोगे. लेट्स सी, मैं इसका फोटो अगर टाइम मिला तो दिखा दूंगा. दिस इज अ यूनिक फिनोमिना जहां पानी भी है और आग भी है. पानी क्यों है? सॉइल फ्लो. आग क्यों है? बिकॉज ऑफ lava, and it is flowing together downwards. Now you know why? Because in the volcanic regions after lava there will be heavy rainfall, and thus it will start flowing downwards. Again only for prelims. Soil flow or mud flow, it is the same thing. Soil flow or mud flow in UK and Ireland is known as bog burst. Is known as bog burst. In UK and Ireland is known as bog burst. क्यों हम यूके एंड आयरलैंड का ही कर रहे हैं? बिकॉज इन आयरलैंड दिस रीजन, यहाँ पे दलदल बहुत कॉमन है. व्हाट इज यू नोन एज एन क्विक सैंड. एंड दिस क्विक सैंड ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम आफ्टर हेवी रेनफॉल स्टार्ट्स फ्लोइंग डाउनवर्ड्स. एंड व्हेन इट स्टार्ट्स फ्लोइंग डाउनवर्ड्स, जो भी इसके पाथ में आया वो इट विल ईट अप, whether it is human being, whether it is animals, etc., and we'll call them as bog burst. It is soil flow. Lahar is volcano, volcanic regions. ये normal soil flow है. Anticline and syncline, V-shaped valley. There is a water which is flowing. That is, this is a river which is flowing. Now, this river basically is an which river? Superimposed या antecedent? Antecedent. This antecedent river will have high erosive power. So, जब river is flowing, erosion भी हो रहा है, but you should also understand that यहाँ पे weathering भी हो रही है, because it is in contact, constant touch with the stone. This water is in constantly touching the stone here. Now we human beings, what we do, यहाँ पे कहीं तो by bursting it with the help of dynamite हम बना देते हैं railway या roads. Now as soon as it bursts with the dynamite, क्या होगा? There will be formation of cracks. Suppose this is how the cracks are formed. Maybe, and after the bursting of the cracks, the cracks form हुआ, the graphic process, everything goes on, and sometimes 10 साल में एक बार there is a very very heavy rainfall. And when there is a heavy rainfall, if this is how the crack is, water will go through the cracks, and this is how maybe the direction of the flow of water is going through the cracks. When the water is going through the cracks, there will be lubrication, and when there is a lubrication, so you don't know what has happened earlier. You are passing through the vehicle here, or the train is going, and this entire path comes down instantly. What we call this as a landslide. ये पूरा का पूरा path has come down. Why it has come down? Because lubricating action of water. Why instant? कोई warning नहीं है. A truck is passing, a vehicle is passing, and ultimately anywhere it can come down. Trigger mechanism can be earthquake. Trigger mechanism can be rainfall. Trigger mechanism can be flash flood ऊपर कहीं तो. Trigger mechanism can be melting of volcanoes. Trigger mechanism can be power horn. Trigger mechanism can be a fast car or fast heavy loaded truck which causes vibration. जब आप bridge पे खड़े होते हो, or if your house is near the roadside and a heavy truck goes, there is a vibration. So similarly, there can be a vibration here, there can be breaking down. This is one phenomena. Now let us see what is the other phenomenon. This is a city which comes up. Maybe it's an old city something. Now it has become an important tourist destination, and because it has become important tourist destination, illegal hotels come up in this area. They will start blasting with the dynamites, and यहाँ पे कहीं तो hotels will start coming up. ऊपर picnic spot and hotels, they will start doing mining activities, etc. But what we don't realize कि नीचे से, because this is a youthful river, this river is going to cut the slope. This is how the river ka life is going to progress. We have not done this topic, but over the period of time यहाँ पे weathering and erosion होगा. Ultimately हम in such kind of slopes, the weathering and erosion ka impact will be there if we keep it to the natural surrounding. But what we are doing, we are increasing ऊपर से pressure, and this is overloading of the slopes by hotels, by construction industry, by mining activities, by tourist spots. But नीचे से river is going to do undercutting. When the river is going to do undercutting, ultimately there will be a point जब ये ऐसे लगेगा it is hanging. Why? Because normally टूटता नहीं है, but now it will break because there is artificial loading of the slopes. And when there is an artificial loading of the slopes, maybe if it can be a village, it can be a city, it can be anything, it all will come down instantly. Example, Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand was a perfect example of this. Overloading of the slopes and undercutting by the river. Bhagirathi river is a huge river there. Bhagirathi river is violent river over there. So it was undercutting the slopes here, but we were overloading the slopes. Tourist destination. इससे पहले, though there were no hotels allowed in Kedarnath region. A person used to go to Kedarnath and they used to come back. They never used to stay for a night in Kedarnath region. But अब commercial बन गया tourism industry, and therefore hotels came up in the Kedarnath region. Roads became. पहले कौन जाता था बद्रीनाथ केदारनाथ? The people who are in the last stage of their life. That is, even if they don't come back, तो ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. They used to go to Badrinath and Kedarnath. This was true. They used to go into Himalayas. They used to go into Amarnath. Last में, that this is there in every religion. But now, picnic के लिए लोग जाने लग गए केदारनाथ and Badrinath. Obviously, there will be picnic के लिए when you go for this kind of tourism. दोनों tourism है, एक है temple tourism, एक है recreational tourism. Now, when you go for recreational tourism, you want facilities, and when you want facilities, the hotel industry etc. comes up. It comes up by maybe drainage system proper नहीं है, maybe कुछ यहाँ पे नहीं है. Ultimately, when the drainage system etc. is not proper, नीचे से there will be seepage in the rocks. You know, आपके घर के ऊपर के फ्लोर पे अगर ड्रेनेज सिस्टम प्रॉपर नहीं है तो घर की छत starts seeping. The same thing happens in the mountains also. If the drainage system is not proper, if it is blocked, the mountains start getting seep, and ultimately water will trigger a landslide. घर में भी अगर उस छत प्रॉपर रिपेयर नहीं की तो छत गिर जाएगी. Similarly, यहाँ also there will be landslide. So this is the second mechanism for the landslide. एक तो the overloading of the slopes, blasting by the dynamites, roads, railways, etc. This can be undercutting by the rivers or overloading of the slopes. I have just told you two reasons of the landslides. You tell me the further reasons for the landslides, but first take the definition of an landslides. Very rapid or instantaneous movement of large mass of a rock, which usually occurs on steep slopes, is known as landslide or rock fall. Full stop. This line is very important. Rainwater just acts as a lubricating agent. just acts as an lubricating agent. Just acts as an lubricating agent. नॉर्मल रेनफॉल में भी होगा, हेवी रेनफॉल में, वेस्टर्न घाट्स, क्लाउड बस्ट में और ज़्यादा ट्रिगर. एंड क्यों ट्रिगर होगा? क्योंकि हमने रॉक्स को वीक कर दिया है ड्यू टू ह्यूमन इंटरवेंशन. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, when an impermeable rock such as clay, when an impermeable rock such as clay lies below the permeable rock, lies below the permeable rock, water may seep through the permeable rock, water may seep, S-E-E-P, or pass through the permeable rock and collect in the clay, and collect in clay, and collect in the clay. This will make the clay moist. This will make the clay moist. Resulting into collapse of a clay, resulting into collapse of clay. Resulting into collapse of clay, and ultimately collapse of an landform, and ultimately collapse of an landform. Such process is known as slumping. In Hindi, zameen dhas jana. In English, it is slumping. Such process is known as slumping. Did you understand from the words what does it mean? Clay is impermeable. We have seen this. Because it is impermeable, it will not allow the water to pass. And you know that clay में अगर water is there, it will become moist. Because it has become moist, नीचे से वो टूट जाएगा. And जैसे वो टूटेगा, ऊपर का rocks भी टूट जाएंगे. And this is what is known as an slumping. To understand this, practical application is Delhi itself. Why high rises are not allowed in Delhi? Because Delhi mein niche there is clay rather than the hard rock, and therefore high rises are not allowed in Delhi. Abhi aa raha hai because now we have understood the technology. So next time when you see to go to any construction site in Delhi, jahan bade malls ya big towers are being built, आप देखना कि वहां से जमीन में से पाइप्स ऊपर आते रहेंगे ब्लैक कलर का, एंड दे आर ओपन पाइप्स. व्हाट इज दैट? एक साल के लिए वैसा रखा जाएगा दैट एरिया. दे विल डिग डीप इनटू द ग्राउंड, दे विल पुट अ पाइप देयर. बिकॉज ऑफ दैट पाइप एयर विल गो एंड इट विल dry up the clay. Once the clay becomes dry, it is very hard rock. When it becomes moist, then only it is a soft rock. So once the clay dries up, then they will start building the process. So otherwise, if you directly start building, the entire building may collapse. Can I rub this diagram? causes of landslide. You tell me what are the causes of landslides. I'm just putting dam. Someone said dam. Next point. Deforestation. Why deforestation? That is, it will cause more of an soil erosion. Any other? Why landslides are common in Himalayas? Mining, someone said. Why it is common in Himalayas? Earthquakes. Earthquakes अगर लिखोगे तो volcanoes. Why there is a landslide common in Western Ghats? Heavy rainfall. Can I say in the high regions global warming? ये अभी नहीं लिखना है, conclusion में लिखना है. And therefore fast melting of glaciers. Causing what? Avalanches. Any other thing? Why? What causes landslides? Cover region means? Overgrazing. Any other? Construction of what? Roads, rails. Undercutting by river. Any other cause of landslide? Nuclear explosion. Tell me the causes very fast. Yes, sorry, you are right. You already know the causes. सिर्फ हमें आंसर प्रॉपर प्रेजेंट करना है. So I am taking the causes from you. Or mining, commercialization of what? Can I say shifting cultivation, slash and burn agriculture? Why? Because it will result into deforestation. Can I say soil erosion? Ultimately will result into landslide wala activities. So you can see from the answer we have points we have generated. अगर आता है, अब ये सारी चीजें हो रही है on the flat slope तो landslide होगा. And if it is on the steep slope then obviously. So what should be the first point? Nature of a slope, steep slope, landslides. If there are gentle slopes, so no landslides. Will there be landslide in Delhi? No, there will be no landslide in Delhi, but there can be a landslide in Uttarakhand because of the steep slopes. So whenever you write an answer on the landslide, see you got some of the natural reasons and some of the human-made reasons. So try to divide the answer in the natural and human reasons. Natural reasons may go to geomorphology, plate tectonics, earthquakes and volcanoes, tectonic activities. Natural reasons may talk about the rainfall, very heavy rainfall. Natural reasons may talk about the undercutting by the rivers, that is river changing unka direction and the erosion by the rivers. Natural reasons may you can talk about the melting of the glaciers resulting into avalanches. Naturally भी melting होगी glacier की and resulting into avalanches. Then come to anthropogenic reasons, and anthropogenic reasons में ये सारा activities, overgrazing etc. all these things. So take down the answer for the causes of landslides. I will give you only in the terms of points and then we will discuss one question. You tell me which. First we'll take the causes of the landslides. Natural causes. Natural causes. Tectonic activities such as earthquakes and volcanoes. First, tectonic activities. Such as earthquakes and volcanoes. Tectonic activities such as earthquakes and volcanoes. Second, heavy rainfall and cloud burst lightning. How lightning will result into landslide? heavy rainfall में there will be lightning, thunder, etc. Cloud burst में आएगा, because cloud burst will occur only if there is cumulonimbus cloud, and cumulonimbus cloud is the only cloud which is responsible for lightning and thunder. So वो लिखना बहुत ये होगा कि due to lightning there will be boom sound, and because of the boom or sonic sound there will be landslides. वो बहुत गलत हो गया. Means rather than that you can use that words some extra points here. वैसे इट इज़ ट्रू, बट लिखने की ज़रूरत नहीं, इतना कॉमन सेंस वो एग्जामिनर को भी होगा. दैट इज लाइटनिंग एंड थंडर. नेक्स्ट, youthful nature of the river, youthful nature of the rivers, which causes erosion of the landforms, comma, undercutting of the slopes, Next point, steep slopes. Tsunami will cause landslide or landslide will cause tsunami? If the landslide is occurring on the below the water, then it will cause tsunami. And if tsunami comes and strikes the coastal region, then it may cause landslide. So next point, high and strong waves, sea waves such as tsunami wave, comma, storm surge, in the coastal regions, Next point, avalanches are caused due to melting of snow during summer season. Avalanches are caused due to melting of snow during the summer season. Next point, anthropogenic causes or human causes or artificial causes. Anthropogenic causes. Or human causes. First, during summers, that is right. So first, soil erosion due to illegal soil mining, comma, stone mining, That is, you should remember illegal mining activities. India में coal भी जो mine होता है, how it is done, how it used to be done. Suppose this is a rock, this entire rock is there which is extremely rich in coal. ये है coal deposits in India. And this is a city or a village which has come on the coal deposit in India. Illegal mining will start from here, and they will start taking the coal, and after taking the coal they will build a tunnel which is illegal below this, and यहाँ से पूरा coal निकाल देंगे. So when the coal is there removed, क्या है, this houses are now floating, you can say. Ultimately this area will slump. This was even done in Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, even by the Coal India Limited, before government made it compulsory कि once you do the coal mining, then you should fill up with the artificial sand. Otherwise, during heavy rainfall, water will seep, and when the water will seep, this will slump. So illegal mining activities, you remember. Second, destabilization of the slopes. Destabilization of the slopes. Destabilization of the slopes due to road and rail construction activities. Due to road and rail construction activity. Destabilization of the slopes due to road and rail construction activities. Road and rail construction activities. Next, blasting of dynamites, nuclear bomb explosion. Blasting of dynamites, nuclear bomb explosion, as well as vibration caused by power horns, vibrations caused by power horns, supersonic jets, and then you can mention his point, thunders. Supersonic jets and thunders. अब इसमें से क्या लिखना है एग्जाम में, that will depend on what the question is. Next, एंथ्रोपोजेनिक कॉज नहीं होगा, बट उस पॉइंट में लिख दिया हमने ठंड, इसलिए मैंने बोला लिखना है तो लिखो ठंडर, अदरवाइज नहीं. शिफ्टिंग कल्टीवेशन, सुपरसोनिक बूम, द सोनिक बूम विच इज क्रिएटेड बाय सुपरसोनिक जेट्स. अगर लैंड इज ऑलरेडी डिस्टेबलाइज्ड हिमालय के ऊपर, व्हाई देयर इज नो फ्लाई जोन इन मेनी स्टेट्स, बिकॉज अगर उसके ऊपर से सुपरसोनिक जेट गोज, इट रिजल्ट्स इनटू लैंडस्लाइड डाउन. सोनिक बूम कहते हैं उसको. Next, shifting cultivation. Shifting cultivation. What is the other name for shifting cultivation? Slash and burn agriculture. Zooming is uska name in India. It is also known as slash and burn agriculture. This will cause deforestation. This will cause deforestation. And thus slope instability. Understood why deforestation? There will be no trees, and thus during the heavy rainfall the slope will become unstable, and slope instability. क्या होगा? Due to deforestation what will increase? Soil erosion, and ultimately soil erosion के बाद it will result into landslides. Next is overloading of the slopes. Overloading of the slopes. Overloading of the slopes due to construction of big dams. Construction of big dams, comma, illegal construction activities on the hill slopes. On the hill slopes. Next, illegal sand mining along the rivers, illegal sand mining along the rivers, which causes deepening of river channels, which causes deepening of river channels and thus increase in the erosive power of a river, and thus increase in the erosive power of a river, thus increase in the erosive power of a river. Now ये point तभी समझ में आएगा if you know how illegal sand mining is being done. And exam में इतना ही लिखना है how illegal sand mining is being done. Rivers में sand is not infinite. Sand already खत्म हो चुकी है rivers की. Therefore the government has stopped sand mining. Illegal sand mining, they take RDX. RDX you remember is easily available in India जहाँ जहाँ mining activities है. ऐसा नहीं है कि terrorism ही पाकिस्तानी इंडिया में RDX लाता है. RDX is the easily available. Yeah, they will take any kind of an dynamite, fill it in the petroleum bottle or fill it in the bottle and throw that at the bottom of a river. When they throw at the bottom of a river, they will burn this and it will cause a blast. Because of blasting, ये जो river का rock है, it will, due to blasting, it will be broken, and due to breaking, there will be artificial deepening. उसके बाद there is a suction pump which is taken, and from this suction pump, all the with heavy force river का पानी बाहर निकाला जाता है, and there is a filter which is kept, on which the water is thrown. The filter is so tiny, उसका nets कि सिर्फ sand निकल जाती है and rock रुक जाता है. फिर से पानी river में छोड़ा जाता है, but what is taken out is rocks, construction activity, and sand, again construction activity. So this is, but what they are doing is they are artificially deepening. So ये mature या old age की river है, now they have caused deepening of the river, and because of the deepening of the river starts more undercutting by the slopes, and because of undercutting फिर ये जो गांव का रास्ता वो सब है वो नीचे आ जाता है. So this is the biggest challenge in India. Remember, especially in central India, especially in the western Ghats. क्यों? क्योंकि बॉम्बे और मैंगलोर और जितने भी ये सिटीज है वेस्टर्न घाट्स पे, वहाँ पे कंस्ट्रक्शन बूम है अभी, और दिल्ली कंस्ट्रक्शन बूम है अभी. तो यहाँ पे सैंड कहाँ से आ रही है? It is through illegal sand mining activities, and therefore you will commonly hear कि गांव का रास्ता बह गया during the rains. Why is this so? This is so because even after the development, even after the construction activity, because we are illegally undercutting, illegal sand mining activity. So, and this is a big mafia. You must be hearing the news that IS officer, IPS was killed because he faced the sand mining mafia. IS was transferred because he could not face. IS को धमकी मिल गई over the period of time. So because it is a multi-crore का industry, the sand mining industry. So this is what is the sand mining. So understood why what it does? It causes artificial undercutting by the river. So increase right there. Thus with the increase in the erosive power, same point, thus with the increase in the erosive power, the river artificially starts deepening its channel. The river artificially starts deepening its channel. Artificially starts deepening its channel, which promotes slumping of the surrounding land. Which promotes slumping of the surrounding land. Slumping of the surrounding land. Next point, overgrazing. Next point, overgrazing. Overgrazing promotes soil erosion, which may trigger, overgrazing promotes soil erosion, which may trigger landslides or mud flow, trigger landslides of mud flow. Last point, in the recent years, Himalayan states as well as Nepal is facing the increasing risk of avalanche, due to faster melting of the glaciers associated with global warming, due to accelerated melting of the glaciers associated with global warming. Have we written nature of the slope? Associated with global warming. Is it looking like India's map? So the landslide prone regions of India. Which are the landslide prone regions of India? So can I say this entire region? See, if you look at the map of India, there will be numerous reasons for landslides. हमें focus करना है high risk zone. नहीं तो अमरकंटक प्लाटू का भी ये छोटा part is responsible for landslides. Eastern Ghats में भी ये थोड़ा बहुत region है which is responsible for landslides. But अगर question आता है exam में, this is more than enough. Because बाकी के जगह वो लिखना भी नहीं है हमें क्या. But still, if you want, I will give you the low risk zone of a landslide. Chota Nagpur Plateau, Amarkantak Plateau region, and some parts of the Eastern Ghats. Low risk zone. Now you tell me the reasons. There are two reasons for landslide, and the question I am giving you is this. You have to just give the definition. For landslides or landslide prone region in Himalayas and Western Ghats. So can I say ये question आपको पूछ रहा है what is a landslide and it is asking you recent account. Recent account मतलब explanation के साथ they have to give the reasons for the landslides in the Himalayas and Western Ghats. So how will be the answer का structure? Definition of a mass movement. वो टेबल जो मैंने दिखाया था मास मूवमेंट का. नाउ यू कैन मेक दैट टेबल वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. क्रीप, फ्लो, slide, and you can write here increases. Explanation देने की ज़रूरत नहीं है because इसके लिए आंसर्स के लिए वर्ड्स कम पढ़ने वाले. यू हैव टू सी द डिमांड ऑफ द क्वेश्चन एंड देखना है कि इसमें इतना ज़्यादा लिखना है दैट कम पढ़ सकते हैं. सो डोंट वेस्ट टाइम इन टेलिंग दिस. एक बार बता दिया बाय विद द हेल्प ऑफ डायग्राम कि व्हाट इज गोइंग टू इंक्रीज क्रीप एंड स्लो, फ्लो एंड स्लाइड. नाउ यू टेल मी हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू राइट दिस आंसर. जो हमने लिखा है वो आंसर खत्म. सी you can perfectly write reasons for landslides in the Himalayas and the reasons for landslides in the Western Ghats अलग अलग points में. Why? Plate tectonics, tectonic activity. Let us come to the first natural cause in this. What was our first natural cause जिसमें हमने causes लिखा है? Does it apply to Western Ghats? No, it applies only to Himalayas. Second natural cause, heavy rainfall. Does it apply? Yes. कहाँ पे apply होता है? Western Ghats and Eastern Himalayas. Does it apply to the Western Himalayas? No, it does not apply to the Western Himalayas except Uttarakhand. बाकी के जगह वो apply नहीं होता. यहाँ पे क्या apply होता है? Avalanches. यहाँ पे heavy rainfall. Why entire northeast is more prone to landslides? Because यहाँ पे Great Himalayas, यहाँ पे Naga Hills, Manipur Hills, etc. And यहाँ पे Peninsular Plateau, Garo Khasi, Jaintia. So what is the third point? Youth slope, steep slopes. Does it apply to Western Ghats and the Himalayas? Yes, but specifically western side of Western Ghats and southern side of the Himalayas. What is the fourth point? Steep slope. मैंने steep slope बता दिया. अब undercutting by the rivers, youthful rivers का एक point होगा. Does it apply to Western Ghats? It applies only to Himalayas. It applies only to the Himalayas. Youthful nature of the rivers. It applies only to Himalayas. Western Ghats में इतना ज़्यादा नहीं. Godavari etc. Except for Trimbakeshwar, it is not at all youthful. Krishna, it is not youthful. Kaveri, it is not youthful except for उसका origin का point. So it does not apply to that. अगर आपको वेस्टर्न घाट्स में लिखना है then you will have to specifically mention west flowing rivers of western ghats. हिमालय की सारी rivers are youthful. Western Ghats में only west flowing rivers of the Himalayas, of the Western Ghats. What is the next point? high and strong sea waves. Does it apply to Himalayas? No. It applies only to the western coast, western Ghats. But can we skip this point for India? Yes. So you should know what to skip also. Causes तो मैंने common दी है. So you should know कि ये point India के लिए इतना apply नहीं होता. High sea waves का भी ऐसे देखा है that high sea waves are coming and hitting the western Ghats. नहीं, 16 kilometers to 6 kilometers का difference है between western Ghats and the coast. It is very narrow up, it is wide here in Kerala. It is very, very narrow up here. So that point does not apply to western Ghats. Next point, avalanches. Can you write here specifically only in Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and in Arunachal Pradesh? Yes, Arunachal Pradesh में भी होगा. But आपको यहाँ पे specify करना होगा. But since these regions of India are uninhabited, they are not habited, therefore the loss of life is not great. Avalanche कब आता है न्यूज़ में? कभी ऐसे नहीं सुना कि कश्मीर वैली में people have died because of avalanche. क्या आता है? Siachen glacier में soldiers have been killed due to avalanches. But it does not come कि the people have died in the Kashmir valley due to avalanche. Because we do not stay, the India does not have populated regions in the avalanches. Fine with this? Mud avalanches, soil erosion. Soil erosion में you mention. तो उसको next point में डालो. Finish your answer with the natural reasons. Coming to the artificial reasons. What is the first artificial reason? Soil erosion. Common है सब जगह. Second, illegal destabilization of the slopes. अब इसमें आप you can say this is there because of high economic development along the eastern Ghats, along the western Ghats, and this is triggered by Konkan Railway as well as National Highway. अब ढूंढो National Highway कौन सा है यहाँ पे? कौन सा है National Highway? I had asked you to find out. वहाँ पे 15 है, यहाँ पे कौन सा है? NH 6 is here. NH 7, NH 5. NH 7. Due to NH 7 and Konkan Railway, such economic activities are increasing. फिर एक आप one point you have missed is heavy rainfall along the western Ghats. Very heavy rainfall because the first shower of monsoon will strike the western Ghats. Then next point, nuclear explosion. लिखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, conclusion में एक बार लिख सकते हो कि such this thing. Blasting of dynamites? Yes. You can now mention the projects of government of India such as 4-laning of the highways or making highways or making tunnels to connect to the inaccessible region will increase the risk of landslides in the near future in the states of Uttarakhand, etc. What is the next point? Shifting cultivation. Does it apply to entire India or only northeast? It will apply only to the northeast. So shifting cultivation only to the northeast. Fine with this? What is the next point? इसका कभी क्वेश्चन भी नहीं आएगा, इसलिए मैंने ये मार्क भी नहीं किया. बस यहाँ के लैंडस्लाइड्स 10 साल में 12 साल में एक बार, and the death is 1%, 2%, 3%. So that does not count in India as a natural disaster. So next point, overloading of the slopes. अब इसको आप दोनों पॉइंट हिमालयाज में भी डाल सकते हो, या you can put this in the even in the western Ghats. That is due to increasing tourism activities, hill stations, there is a greater overloading of the slopes. Next point, illegal sand mining. कहाँ पे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है, वेस्टर्न घाट्स में या हिमालयाज में? It is bigger problem in the western Ghats for the construction activities. So ये क्वेश्चन मत लिखना, I am giving you an home assignment is So what is the identification of the landslide prone regions of India? 1. Western Ghats. 2. Western Himalayas. 3. Eastern Himalayas. 4. Purvanchal Himalayas. And don't keep word limit. Generate points जितना आप generate कर सकते हो. So forget this is like an not an question answer. This is like an we are making the points or the notes. So जितने ज़्यादा points you can generate and bring this to the next class. That is this answer. Then we'll discuss what should be an ideal answer in 200 words. And what you have to focus between differentiation of the landslides in the Himalayas and the Western Ghats. So उसमें ये मत करना कि column बनाया Himalayas, Western Ghats, टेक्टोनिक नो टेक्टोनिक एक्टिविटी, रेनफॉल कंपैरेटिव, ऐसा नहीं. एक हिमालयाज का एक रीजन प्रॉपरली एंड उसके बाद वेस्टर्न घाट्स का एक रीजन प्रॉपरली एंड ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट अगर इफ यू हैव एनी केस स्टडीज ऑन दिस एंड इवन इफ यू गूगल लैंडस्लाइड्स इन इंडिया आपको केस स्टडीज मिल जाएंगी. आंसर में ये सारा काम नहीं आएगा बट दिस विल एनरिच योर आंसर ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. सो विल मीट नेक्स्ट थर्सडे. टुमारो यू आर हैविंग ओनली करंट अफेयर्स. 2:30.